Microsoft just leaked a major start button redesign for Windows 10. This coming via bgr.com. A little while back, they tried to get rid of the start button. And I know guys like you were very upset, Willie do.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
The Metro UI.
They tried to get rid of the start button.
Yeah.
You were protesting. You were out in the streets. Guy like you. You had the mask on, the umbrella. That was you, right?
Yeah. Couldn't tell.
Yeah, you had to sign. It was anti-Microsoft sign. How dare you? It said on it. How dare you, Microsoft? Start button militia. That's what you belong to, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I know. Memory's fading. It was a long time ago, so it's faded. It faded a little bit.
I was a leader, and
it faded a little bit. But anyhow, it didn't last because people, seriously, I'm not even joking. People were very upset when the start button went away. Like, what do I do? How do I use my computer here? Anyway, they've been thinking about the start button, obviously, because there's this leaked version. Not leaked, but I guess it's kind of like an early version of a next-gen Windows copy. And they have reworked the start button and the menu that comes with it, apparently, if according to these screenshots, which have emerged. Windows 10 Pro Insider Preview is actually what this one's called. You can see the exact build. What is it? 18947. You can see a picture of it, obviously, if you go look at the video version. If you're on the audio, you're not going to see what it looks like. But essentially, the way this breaks down, you have you don't have those live tiles anymore, which I got to say, I don't use those at all. I do not use these live tiles. They're a nuisance. I load this up. I just look at it. They're moving around. It all seems like too much for too little. All this real estate here, and it's not useful to me. Yeah, these live tiles, holy moly. Especially when you boot up a new system. All these things, Microsoft Store, Office, pre-installed apps, games they want you to download, play. I like squares. I do. I like squares. But
this is too much.
It's a lot, man. I like squares, but it's a lot. So the new design, I really like, actually. It's kind of like a quick access menu. It's very Android-y, I would say. Kind of mobile inspired. And they're trying to embrace this idea of the transformative nature of Windows, the fact that it can go, there's so many devices now, 2-in-1 style devices that can do a tablet situation. And so this feels more in that universe, more cohesive as you go from the tablet interface to a typical computer interface. And I feel like it's a bit more careful. It's a more careful way of moving into this direction here. And I appreciate that. I think they're thinking about users now. They're thinking about feedback. Now, there's a picture as well there, which you can see what it will look like in the tablet format. Yeah, there you go. And anyway, it's a leak, so it's not necessarily going to be this way. It's currently on this insider preview. I suppose changes could take place. And I know Windows users in general, people who use any platform and are very familiar with it, they could be defensive about changes in general. But for me, this is promising. I've actually enjoyed my experience moving back to Windows. How much has happened since I used to be on the daily? Because, of course, I had the stopover in MacBook land for a number of years. And I'm like, man, they tightened it up. They're thinking about it. I feel like they're hearing feedback. And this is another movement in that direction. I think it's promising for the time being. Of course, I have to try it myself. I still turn off a lot of features in Windows. Part of me switching over to any new Windows laptop is turning a bunch of stuff off and like configuring it. There's still a little bit too much of that, in my opinion. Once I get it the way I like it, I'm like, man, this is clean right now. So I say to myself, I have a little moment. It's the way I want to say, man, this is clean right now. I'm all alone when I say something like that.
Have you ever seen those like heavy modified Windows?
Oh, modified Windows builds? Yeah, of course. I used to mess with that back in the day. But I just feel like they've gotten tighter. They've gotten closer. I also noticed by default, this one seems to have the smaller task bar down there. Is that what that's called? Taskbar, nav bar? What is the bottom bar called? Taskbar. Yeah.
I think it's called the
It's called the taskbar. Anyway, They got the small one. Now, I don't know if this person selected it on their insider preview or if it's by default, but I always go to the small taskbar right away. The other one's too ugly. And I don't need it. I don't need that much space. So I just pin a few things that I like. I use the taskbar a lot. I keep the desktop clean. You can make Windows what you want it to be. And it's all very exciting. So the start button is going to change a little bit, but at this point, it looks to me like it might be for the better.